Hey guys, welcome back to Mogul Monday. Today we'll show you the shocking list of major retailers forced into bankruptcy by COVID-19. Let's head into it. The so-called retail apocalypse was not caused by COVID-19. Over 9,300 stores in the United States closed in 2019, up from 5,800 the year before. According to CB Insights, the retail apocalypse can be traced back as early as 2015. The pandemic, on the other hand, has been its most destructive horseman. Following years of debt-fueled buyouts and consumer shifts away from shopping malls and towards online shopping, the mass shutdown of 2020 pushed some of America's most iconic brands to the brink. With historic department stores and apparel purveyors at the forefront, the pandemic year has brought a paradise of headline-making Chapter 11 fillings. While bankruptcy does not always imply closure, don't be surprised if your favorite establishments close. Here are some of the most well-known bankruptcies to date, as well as the potential outcomes of their reorganizations. Ascena Retail, Lane Bryant and Taylor, founded in 1962 as Dress Barn. Bankruptcy was filed on July 23, 2020. As part of a Chapter 11 restructuring aimed at reducing around $1 billion in debt, the company behind some of the most well-known brands in women's fashion is closing 1,600 of its approximately 2,800 stores. The debt will be converted into equity under a reorganization plan set for court approval in November, handing over control of the company to its lenders. Ascena filed for bankruptcy about 7 months after closing the last stores in its original line, Dress Barn, which is now only available online under new ownership. Brooks Brothers. 1818 was the year it was founded. Bankruptcy was filed on July 8th, 2020. The brand that defined the American way of dressing for success for generations, particularly the American male executive way, faced strong headwinds as people dressed down for the office, then stopped going altogether due to the pandemic. The country's oldest ready-to-wear clothing retailer had already decided not to reopen 20% of its roughly 250 US stores that had gone dormant in March when it filed for Chapter 11, and it is expected to close its 3 US factories. Brooks Brothers said bankruptcy proceedings would help it facilitate an ongoing sale process while managing what has been an incredibly challenging period for all industries, especially retail, according to a post on its Facebook page. CEC Entertainment, founded in 1997, bankruptcy was filed on June 25, 2020. The 600-plus restaurant chain, whose pizza, arcade games, and animatronic band fueled countless ruckus children's parties, was particularly hard hit by the pandemic, which effectively halted dining out and large gatherings. Revenue dropped by 90%, putting pressure on the company to pay off nearly $1 billion in long-term debt. Meanwhile, in October, CEC received court approval to raise $200 million in financing for business operations and costs related to a reorganization plan that the company claims has been approved by a majority of creditors. Century 21 Stores. Founded in 1961, on September 10, 2020, a bankruptcy petition was filed. Under Chapter 11 proceedings, the family-owned department store that pioneered off-price retail in downtown Manhattan will close all 13 of its mostly New York City area locations. The company immediately began a chain-wide going-out-of-business sale. In an FAQ for customers, the company says, without receipt of the insurance proceeds, there was no viable alternative but to begin the shutdown. Century 21's lawsuit against its insurance providers has been merged into the bankruptcy proceedings. GNC. Founded in 1935, bankruptcy was filed on June 23, 2020. What began as a Pittsburgh health food store selling the then exotic specialty of yogurt 85 years ago has grown into a mall staple seller of vitamins, supplements, beauty, and dietary products. With over 4,800 retail locations, as part of its Chapter 11 reorganization, the company has closed nearly 1,300 100 stores in the United States and Canada. GNC emerged from bankruptcy in October after a $770 million sale to its largest shareholder, Harbin Pharmaceutical Group of China. Guitar Center. Founded in 1959 as the Organ Center, bankruptcy was filed on November 21, 2020. 8 days after unveiling a restructuring plan supported by creditors and new investors aimed at reducing a $1.3 billion debt load by nearly $800 million. The country's largest retailer of musical instruments filed for Chapter 11 reorganization. The company stated that it expects to be out of bankruptcy by the end of the year. Meanwhile, its business operations, which include nearly 300 Guitar Center stores and more than 200 musical and art locations that sell or rent band and orchestral instruments, will continue as usual. JCPenney. Founded in the year 1902, filed for bankruptcy is May 15, 2020. JCPenney, an American institution that anchors malls across the country, was already fighting for survival when COVID-19 hit, having lost billions in the 2010s and shrunk from over 1,000 stores to around 850 when it filed for Chapter 11 protection in May. After winning court approval on November 9th of a sale to its two largest landlords, mall operators Brookfield Assistant Management and Simon Property Group, as well as its bankruptcy lenders, Penny appears to be on the verge of exiting bankruptcy. JCrew. Incorporated in 1947 as Popular Merchandise Incorporated, bankruptcy was filed on May 4, 2020. The brand that has become synonymous with preppy style has had a rocky recent history, churning through CEOs as it battled debt and shifting consumer preferences, with lenders agreeing to convert nearly all of JCrew's $1.7 billion in debt into equity. The company's Chapter 11 restructuring appears to be addressing at least one of those issues. On August 25th, a bankruptcy judge approved the plan, and the company emerged from Chapter 11 on September 10th. Meanwhile, nearly all of nearly 500 JCrew Madewell and JCrew factory stores that were closed at the beginning of the pandemic have reopened. Lord & Taylor. Established in 1826, bankruptcy was filed on August 2, 2020. The nation's oldest department store announced on August 27th that it will close all of its 38 locations, with liquidation sales starting immediately. The announcement came nearly a year after Lord & Taylor was acquired by fashion rental startup Lee Tote, and just 25 days after both companies filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Lord & Taylor had been struggling for some time prior to the pandemic, having gone through several owners in recent years, including the corporate parents of former rivals Macy's and Saks Fifth Avenue, and closing its historic Fifth Avenue flagship store in New York City, which was converted into a WeWork in 2019. What do you think about these retailers? Did you know that they were forced into bankruptcy due to COVID-19? Let us know in the comments section. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the two videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.